Welcome to Beyond Disney European Theme Parks and How to Find Them with Tab.
Let's get other notes.
Okay, so we can't all go to Disney Sea all the time. It's supposed to be one of the most beautiful theme parks in the world, but it is like a 14-hour plane ride. And when you get there, you have to queue for 2 hours to get on anything good. Yeah!
90 minutes for some plain popcorn. Yeah.
So I'm like, there is a better way, you know? And some of them, we have more parks that are local to us, and particularly, at least when I visit, some of them are empty. So you just walk on rides and it's amazing. I've been very spoiled by that. I've been sort of collecting different places to go over the past few years. They're not all going to make it into the panel because this is generally like info for people who are looking into places to go, talk about. We can maybe share some experiences or tips for different ones. Because who has been to a theme park outside of the UK? Is that okay? Hands down. Who hasn't been to a theme park outside of the UK? A couple, yeah. So it is scary getting into it. For me, it's new. I went to theme parks during lockdown, so the idea of going back into them with like COVID travel restrictions and everything, big anxious time. I'm not the most easy breezy traveller. I'm normally the person who organises these things just because I'm stressed about it, you know? I hate hot weather and I hate airports, yet something gets me out there. And as a general thing, my favourite type of roller coasters are something which has positive Gs. Do people know what that means? Okay, that's when you're at the bottom of a hill or at the bottom of like a curve, and all of the forces pull you into the seat so much the blood like drains from your head and you start to like lose your vision and grey out. Fun, yeah. But I find all of the roller coaster YouTubes are really into like airtime and like, or just heights, you know, we want to go on the tallest, we want to go on the fastest. So it means that what I like might not be what you like. So take everything I say with a pinch of salt. So to try and get across what I think of parks, this is my Threemi rating system, which is thrills. Will there be a ride that gives me a little headache and scares me a bit? Like, will I actually feel a little bit of terror before I get locked into that chair? Thrills, environment. Is it a concrete wasteland? Is it an enchanting forest? Are the bathrooms themed? Disney bathrooms, not very exciting. I was expecting more. And the meme. Memes. Literally the measurement of how many times did I get my phone out and take a picture of a weird little guy, you know? And that, I realised, doing this panel, that's a really important part of theme parks to me, because you have theme parks and then you have amusement parks, and an amusement park is all of the rides, whereas theme, we love the theming term, the theming. Right, so I'm going to start with my best all-rounders. Yeah. And number one choice for me, for someone getting into this for the first time to be like, oh, I want to try a little one, is to go all the way to Cologne, Germany, and go to Phantasialand. That would be my number one tip for someone who is like, oh, I don't know if I like the travel in the theme park, because it's a one-day park, maybe two if you want to take it easy. For thrills, I give it like a 9. Like, the coasters are really good, they're like world grade, but none of them do something that I really like. And, you know, so, but other people are really going to enjoy them. The environment, it's a 10. And memes, it's funny, but like, you know, it's not like over the top whimsy. And the size is 28 hectares. This is something that I thought is a good idea, like especially if you've never been to a place, to be like, how big is it really? So this is roughly to scale of, this is Thorpe Park in comparison size-wise. when I was looking it up, they were like, Thorpe Park is 200 hectares, including all the lakes. And I'm like, I don't walk on the lakes. So I went on to like a Google measurement thing and clicked around the area. So Phantasialand is kind of like 2 Thorpe Parks, you know? And that's a good sort of like to get you ready for what kind of day you've got ahead of you, you know? I was trying to think I tried to get a picture that summed up Phantasialand, but it's basically in the middle of a German suburbs, and it's built down into the ground, and if you take public transport to it, your first view of the park will be this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know how Disneyland has the main street and the beautiful view and everything like that? It's you go to this bus shelter. Shall we turn the lights down slightly so you can see the bus shelter with more clarity? And then you get in the park, and it looks like that. Like, it is. It really shows that, like, especially watching YouTube videos of stuff to be like, do I want to go there? You can't do a flattened image of what it's like to walk into the center of this kind of atmosphere. And I think that's why I love theme parks, because you feel like it's a world around you. And it's the same, so this is one of the areas with Taron, and this is the Fly sort of steampunk area. And what Phantasialand has done is that they built the hotels up around the park, and the hotels form almost the wall structure, and the roller coasters sit within them. And it's really cool, really effective. If you like tall things, it's not going to be the park for you. But if you like being like, the theming, Tab, the theming, it's a great place to be. Just to get this across, because I was like, it's not just about like special coasters that do things. It's more the Phantasialand, this is their drop tower. So another park will be like, yeah, we'll paint it white, we'll call it the Bubble Blast or something. Theirs, it's enclosed, and I hate drop towers, okay? Like, I just don't like that physical sensation. I don't like the boom, done, get off the ride. This, you enter a room, and it's dark, and you sit in the like chairs all facing each other, and you look up, and you can't see how tall it goes. It's good atmosphere, you know? And the same, like, their Rapids ride. I've been on a lot of Rapids rides recently, and they're all like, here's an African one with dubious statues. Or this one's Mexico with dubious statues. Yeah, Europe's got problems with that. Phantasialand's one is like bat castle themed, and most Rapids rides, they go all the way around the park or something. They didn't have enough room for that, so they just built it in a castle. Like, so you go up to the top, beautiful view of everything. It's a Rapids ride with a lift hill. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, good for goth kids. And I think the one that really sums it up, Owen Towers is about to get this top spin ride. Yeah. This is Phantasialand's one. It's got fire, like everything is absolutely huge. Yeah, so it just gives you a vibe. It's all about.
Manchester's Friend used to be good. And then now it looks like that.
Yeah. So quick tips on like just useful info. Your nearest airport is Cologne. It is the sort of thing that you could say fly in the morning, do like not a full day, stay one night, do another half day, and then go back to the airport style of park. Or you can stay in Cologne and do some other stuff in Cologne. There is a free shuttle bus, and it's not a free shuttle bus, you need coins for the shuttle, which I first went to this park in January actually, because a lot of these theme parks have winter openings, which is a really cool way to see, like to do night rides. That's a very exciting thing for me. But I turned up after doing like some fun on the metro, figuring that one out, and then getting to like this slightly raining bus station in the middle of Brühl being like, what have we done? With like a sign that says Phantasialand on it, but it used to be red and it's now pink. And then 10 minutes before the shuttle bus was due, like cockroaches out of woodwork, people came, and then suddenly there's this crowd, and we all get on the bus. You can't see anything, this is all steamy, and then you get to the bus station entrance, and then you actually got in the park, and it was amazing. So, like, don't judge it by the places you have to go through to get to it. One of the things, Angie, you said you got caught out on too. Cologne Airport has a mid-shops passport check. You think you're through the gate, you're past security? No, this is the false zone. This is not the place that you sit and have a sandwich. There's a second passport check that you have to then go through. We almost missed our flight back home. It was incredibly stressful. People mobbed the gates. So just get there early and you'll be fine. One of the bonus things is they say they give you free entry on your birthday. I have yet to find out whether this is true or not. And yeah, any other Phantasialand goers who have any tips that I haven't put on there? Yes, Andy.
Try and get there sort of mid-morning.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the stuff gets mobbed first thing, especially stuff weirdly further in.
Oh yeah.
Because people get there and go.
It's the car parks, because I've also driven to this one. We're like from my house in my car, like all the way, not a hire car. The car parks end up at the back of the park. Yeah. So this one is good for both public transport or driving to, because some theme parks the car parking is horrendous or something, but this is fine for both. Yes. And nearby there's like Brawl Castle, Cologne Cathedral, and the Perfume Museum in Cologne, which is where the phrase Eau de Cologne comes from. So there's a couple of things that will keep you entertained. Yes?
I haven't been to this Phantasialand, but I have been to Cologne. As a couple of others, and they may not necessarily be nearby, but a couple of options. They have the most fantastic Gothic cathedral built above the train station.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
if you really want to go into full, I think I've entered a horror movie vibe. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The other thing they have is a museum run by the Lynn Chocolate Company.
Yeah, Chocolate Museum. Yeah.
That's
So always a good,
Yeah, they actually make their hot chocolate from the melted chocolate fountains in there.
Oh, amazing. All right. So our next one will be going to South Germany, and it is Europa Park. Like, this is the one that I was like, I'm going to go there one day. And then the wooden coaster was getting redone, so I'll be like, oh, I'll go another day. This is all like pre-COVID and everything. And I was like, oh, I'll go. And then it was like, there's a fire, one of the water rides has burned down.
It's not had the best of luck.
Yeah. And since I've been there, another one of their water rides burned down and had to get rebuilt. And I feel very privileged to. It was an interaction of a log flume with a mine train that also had some caves covered in jewels and beautiful flammable things. And now it's been sort of changed into like an open air thing because they haven't rebuilt the caverns that kept the flames in, I guess. Yes, do you have a comment?
No. When you say thrills 9, possibly 10.
Yes, so since I've been, this one got built. So for me, it was like a 9. It has a steel coaster, Silver Star, that when it was built, tallest in Europe, and has now been eclipsed, as they do, or sometimes declipsed. And that's sort of up and down. But this does lots of fancy shit with like turnstiles and like launches on a curve, and it just sounds real good. Yeah. There's a sort of style of roller coaster in Europe that we don't really get. We haven't got one in the UK that is sort of does backward launches and reuses the launch track over and over again. And if you haven't been on one, you might find out you like them, or some people hate going backwards, but I love going backwards.
The only one that's thing is 13, I think, does. Or but used to.
Yes.
When it's open, which is never exceeded.
Mainland Europe has introduced a coaster that goes forward and then the whole track backwards.
Okay, yes. Oh, yes, there's
Boomerang.
and there's the Jumanji ride, Mandrill Mayhem in Chessington does go backwards and forwards. So yes, we do have one, but the European ones are bigger. Big, fun, good. Let me see if I can. Previous tutorial. I did it. So opened 1975. It's 95 hectares. So that is. I think I've got a picture later that shows how big this park is. And it's divided all into little zones of Europe. And the environment, I give it like a 9, it's amazing. And memes, like, more tongue-in-cheek than Phantasialand is, particularly because they've got all this off-brand European shit, okay? So this off-brand Epcot ball, what you need to understand is that inside, instead of like, what's in the Epcot ball right now?
A ride where you go all the way up and talk about the history of communication.
Okay, sounds fun. Okay, so in this ride it's Can Coaster. So it's the front, I don't know if you can see that. That is the Moulin Rouge. During your queue line, it has dancing girls, and then, all right, let me quick run over of the ride experience as I remember it. You get in a lift hill that spirals you up like this while you go around what is basically like GCSE level set design artwork of Paris. And then you get to the top and the Can starts playing. As you go down, getting faster and faster, where at some point you're going past and underneath Can Kicky Legs. Yes. It was one of the first ones I went to in Europa Park, and we just laughed so hard we cried. Like, it's a great time.
A bit more exciting than the Phoenicians and the others.
Yeah, and I'm not into VR coasters, but if you want, there's a VR version of this that is to the Phantom of the Opera. Oh. So they really go in, you know what I should have put in this panel? What they have in England land in this park. I just completely skipped it. They've got like a fake Shakespeare's globe there, and when we were there they were playing like Abraca Shakespeare, a Shakespeare magic show. Like, I love it to be there. And they've got like a crazy taxi ride, that kind of stuff. Be like, oh, do we have to get like annexed from it now? So they've also got knockoff Pirates of the Caribbean ride that also has like the restaurant that you can sit around in it. This was the one that burned down in that fire when so it's been rebuilt, nice shiny new. They've also got like off-brand, this is Ed's, what's his last name? Come on, like Ed Euromouse, there we go, that's it. Yeah. So we've got off-brand Mickey Mouse as well, but he kind of looks like, I don't know, like his younger cousin or something.
It looks like he's selling off-brand Power Rangers toys at the corner shop.
Yeah, but what I need to explain, like, this isn't really like a roller coaster park. It's more like a resort. It is absolutely beautiful when you get in. Like, this is like the Italy area. This is like the Swedish one. That honestly, we almost didn't find this. You have to go on one of the rides, and it pops you out down there. And you're just sort of like in this beautiful little zone that you would have just walked by if you hadn't realised. Like, it just shows like the variety of it, and this is sort of third tallest roller coaster in Europe, depending on whether you decide if the one in Sweden, the hybrid Wildfire, counts as number 1 or not. Well, it's got wood. But it looks good. But I mean, honestly, I prefer Wicker Man. Like, one of the things I would say about looking at all these parks is we do have some great ones in the UK. Like, as much as we like talk shit about them, we've got some damn good rides here. I'd say that definitely. They've also got Silver Star, which is their tallest steel coaster. just goes into the car park, you know, just out to the car park, because they ran out of room, I guess, yeah. So we don't have too much time, but let's move on to, here's a size comparison of, this is Alton Towers versus Europa Park versus Phantasialand, to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, and why Europa Park, especially because of it just being a nice place to walk around in, is a 3-dayer really. Like maybe like 1 or 2 if you've been before. And some general like travel advice. One of them is the best airport, I think, is Basel. Really, other ones are nearby depending on what you're doing, but Basel tends to be the cheapest flights from the UK. Though I did find the airport is half in France, half in Switzerland. So when I went to get my hire car, it's like, no, your card's only released in Europe. Like, whereas Switzerland is not in Europe. So thankfully my friend had a card that worked, so we could actually pick up our hire car. And one of the big bonus things that I should talk about is Rolantica. They have a water park nearby, which I haven't been yet, but I love doing a theme park, walking until my feet want to drop off, and then floating in a pool or something just to chill out and just rest yourself up for the rest of the day. Yes, any quick things people want to say about Europa Park?
Oh,
Yeah.
not to say, I just want to ask, with the hotels, the on-site ones for the last 2, are the prices reasonable or Disney?
I don't, like Phantasialand has like a steampunk themed one, which is the cheapest one,
Right.
and sort of the more reasonable one. We stayed in Cologne because I wanted to see sort of more of it, so I can't give much feedback
Yeah.
on that. Europa Parks, there's 6 of them, so but it is really popular with Germans.
Right.
So take a look, but Europa Park, the little village of Rust it's
Yeah.
in, lots of accommodation as far as the eye can see, and it's so walkable to it. It's not like outside the village is Europa Park.
Perfect.
And also Rolantica is next to the Audi Lidl thing. Yeah, and you have to walk even if you're in the hotel to Rolantica. So if I go again, I'm getting a hotel near Rolantica because I know that will be my last journey. Because Rolantica does like evening tickets, so that's probably the last place I'm going to be. Also to convince myself to get food at the end of the day, you know.
For what it's worth, we have stayed at the Fantasia hotels. They're not Disney prices, but they're definitely you are paying to be on site. You are,
there.
yeah, they are very good quality hotels. They are.
Great. And you can get good deals. There has been a recent promotion.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but Rust is also sort of in the middle of nowhere. Like you can public transport to it, but generally, so your nearby things is this beautiful town called Colmar in France, because Europa Park is just over the border from so many other places, and there's Strasbourg, and also like the Black Forest and some German castles and stuff like that you can visit as part of the trip. I think that's pretty much everything I've said on that one. All right. So, and my last one of the 3 is to go near Eindhoven in the Netherlands. It is Efteling.
Yay!
Has anyone here not been to Efteling? Okay, not too bad. From the yay, I assume the entire room was like Efteling massive, you know. So this is the oldest theme park. No, sorry, scratch that. This theme park is older than Disneyland California. It's supposedly the place that Walt Disney went to get inspired to be like, this is what theme parks could be like, instead of like an amusement park on a pier or something. For thrills, I give this a really low score actually. None of them hurt my brain, so it's just gonna be low. But my environment is 10, my memes is 10. And what I want to describe to you for people who haven't been to this park is when you Google it, it shows you this is the front entrance. It's really cool. It looks like nothing else in the park. You know, like it's a thatch little spiky thing, sure. And there's pictures of roller coasters. Efteling is not about roller coasters, really. Efteling is about this place. This is an entire section of the park, and this was what was first built in Efteling, this is like the enchanted forest. It is that every single one of these, like over 30 different attractions, it's like the largest walk-through dark ride you've ever been on. So you go to like this little house and you can go up in and there'll be like an animatronic and there's Snow White and there's like little mice doing everything in the room. And then you go to like the next one, and this one was like built in the 60s but meticulously maintained to the day. And it's just a pair of little red shoes doing a dance while you all watch it in a circle. Then move on to the next thing. Like, it's just little bits of whimsy, and it's sort of fairy tales from around the world. Like one of them, Europeans do have a different attitude to nudity than we do, is the Emperor's new clothes. And it's just like a guy going across and he comes back naked and the fountain bursts in front just as the gap in the hedge. Like, yeah, just little wonderful things like this, like dragon stuff, and also these. These are the hollybollogies.
Gobblers,
They're paper gobblers. It's
paper, right.
Yeah. So, you know how like Disney is like, we need to put a like trash can every so minute and make people put it away. The Dutch were like, I'm gonna have it be a little guy that goes papier, papier as you go past, and like it, as you put your paper nearby, it vacuums it in. We went on a mission to basically like got up the Wikipedia, like where are all of them? We need to see all of them. Yeah. I forgot about saying this. So Efteling, every single gift shop is different. Like, so, and one of them is just tiny little models of the little attractions in the Enchanted Forest that you can take home. And you know, there's like Winter Wonderland things that have like all of the ice skaters and that. You can build your own little Efteling Enchanted Forest at home. So they're an attraction in their own side. Yes, and Efteling does have rides, don't get me wrong. So it's got what is basically Oblivion plus dive coaster that has really just theming beyond belief, with a little extra at the end so it doesn't just go down a hole and then to the ride train dispatch, like exit area. One of my favourite rides is actually this combo water coaster because it's got a really atmospheric bit before you go up and then down. One that I'm looking forward to go on called Dance Macabre, which is just this new designed spooky ride.
Sorry.
There's a ghost. Which I'm just looking forward to the theming and stuff like that. So it does have really interesting rides, but like I was saying before, it's really hard to get across what this park has, because one of my favourite rides has like space fairy castles, which is all in the dark, so you can't take a picture of it, you can't take a video of it, you have to see it in person, and it's a fun time. And this park, this is the accommodations. They've got lovely cabins in the woods, so imagine like a centre park, you know? So, yeah. And the mascot is a jester from space.
So what are you cosplaying in?
I think Laura will definitely.
Okay.
So travel, the nearest airport is Eindhoven, but a lot of people actually fly to Amsterdam because the train takes as long from Amsterdam as Eindhoven, and you get to see a bit of Amsterdam. My favourite way to get there is I live up in Manchester, so a couple years ago we tried doing the Hull to Rotterdam ferry. My first time driving on the other side, scary. But Netherlands is one of the easiest places to do that. Their roads are so good, so much better than ours, So I really recommend that, especially for like slow travel point of view. I just find airports stressful, and just turn up and be on the boat and be like, okay, we're gonna make it. Yeah. And so best food like is the pancake restaurant, very themed, and the hotel, what I was saying earlier, especially for group bookings, is really cheap, like really price effective. They do have an amazing sort of more like hotel suites, and a new on-site hotel is about to open, but the rooms look too modern, in my opinion. They're not like whimsical, and I am in Efteling for whimsy. And nearby, the Kinderdijk windmills are a really fun little attraction, and that's sort of, for me, we drove across, and when driving back to the Rotterdam ferry, we passed by that. And nearby, there's some more theme parks, which is, so, for reference, so if you wanted to try, this is where the Rotterdam ferry comes in, and this is where Efteling is, and this is where the Calais connections all arrive. So there's lots of little parks which are about 2 hours from each other. And for me, 2 hours is a reasonable drive in a day. That's not for everyone, or it's a reasonable part of a road trip. So in particular, is Toverland and Movie Park are like nearby, highly themed parks. If anyone ever goes to VienCon or have heard of VienCon, the centre parks that is held is like 5 minutes from Toverland. Like if you're going to VienCon, go to Toverland. It's a fun time. I would describe Toverland as like a half-day theme park, but that's because when we went, it was empty, so just on everything straight away. But it's got great theming. I almost wouldn't go to this one if I was going to Efteling, because it's great, but compared to Efteling, just, it's just not as big. But it has a really fun wind coaster, like Stealth in Thorpe Park, but with a dragon animatronic, so instantly uplifts it. And the wooden coaster, we were all like, yes, wooden coaster, so we go on, and then we got our shirts blown off. We've been on a lot of wooden coasters over the various time of being like, there's one, let's do it as part of the trip, and then just gotten off it like, that was so rattly, I'm dying. I've been beaten up. This is fast, intense, and smooth. Which, so I do recommend that one. Because it looks like this. It's pretty cool, it's got a big horse. Yeah, so good theming. And Movie Park, which is like German off-brand Universal Studios. I love it. It's so like high camp. And it has a Star Trek roller coaster, which in the queue line, it's got like a copy of the bridge. We couldn't take pictures in, because there's a rope, but I couldn't take a picture because there were German teenagers trying to get it on the ride, and we're just there like, Star Wars, Star Trek. I love Star. Yeah, so and the Star Trek coaster is really fun. It's one of those launch back and forth ones, so it's an exciting one. And also, so their log splash ride. It's not quite a log flume. Waterboat ride is Area 51 alien themed. So you go inside like a volcano and there's like aliens on their computers like beep or beep. It's I love it. Like I'm just like brilliant. Also their Rapids ride is like King Arthur themed. Yeah, and you go round the round table and stuff. Yeah, it is fun.
But it's underground, and is there a druid?
There were frozen stone skeletons that looked more deranged as you got to the cave. Yeah, that's pretty good. Was there a hand holding a sword? Yeah, I think there was, yeah. Alright. And now my next section about theme parks is theme parks I would describe as one great ride. Okay. So maybe you've been to those three and you're like, you know what, I want to see what else has to offer, or I'm really into like roller coasters, you've gotten more into that stuff. These are parks I would go to, and this is the ride I would go to each one for. This is Ride Happiness, Popsland of Fan, Belgium. This is one I love going back. I love going backwards. I love being spun. There is not a roller coaster that will make me puke, basically. And I thought this ride. So this is like Spinball Whizzer, Alton Towers, but it also goes upside down, and it also has a launch, and it also has on-ride music, you know. It's got a lot going for it. I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favourite roller coasters, and it's right by Calais, so about an hour's drive from Calais if you're in the area. Captain Coaster currently ranks it like sort of as an averaging ranking site as number 7 in the world, which is amazing for such a tiny little park that's just in Belgium. It's mostly aimed at families,
I can't
but
find
I
thought I'd do all this.
yeah, so it's mostly aimed at families, but I would say, and it's difficult to get to on public transport, but if you don't mind going around the silly little whimsy thing in between your rides on Ride to Happiness, you'll have a good day, you know?
Can't establish how weird it is to have that ride in that park. It's
Yes,
like if there was a
yeah,
Peppa
yeah.
Pig amusement park and they had the Nemesis.
Yeah, because it is intense, it's really intense. I describe that coaster, I feel like it is going and I am somewhere behind it being dragged along by a balloon. And I love that sensation. But it is hard if you're like, I want to go to a theme park to go on this ride. But what if you get there and you hate that ride? What if it's just not for you? And it's about that like risk thing.
You've also got to go to Princess Restaurant then.
Oh yeah, and there's knockoff Princess Restaurant. I shouldn't call it knockoff. Princesses are owned by fairy tales, not by Disney. And here's another 2 that I would put in similar category of park. This is the Walibi parks. So Walibi Holland definitely used to be a Six Flags. I can't remember about Walibi Belgium. But they feel, atmosphere-wise, similar to a thought park. It's a bit concrete, you know, and it's more about like individual rides instead of like an all-over theme. But Conda in Walibi Belgium is very good. It's sort of snake-themed roller coaster, no inversions, just big fast. This is Untamed at Wallaby Holland. This is an RMC, which is basically there's a thing happening around the world, which is old wooden roller coasters get upgraded with bits of steel and track to make those wooden coasters do like loops and things. They're a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, but for me, not a ride that did anything particularly special for me, but lots of people absolutely love this one. And the last one I'd recommend in the one great ride category is Park Asterix with their new roller coaster, Tutatis, which is all part of their Druid section. I would say, so this is, can I describe what it does to you? Like, I'm just going to check my time. 10-ish minutes?
Yeah.
Alright. So it does a little launch, you go almost up to the top, don't make it, roll back, you get launched again, you go up a spike, and then go forward, gives you enough zhuzh to then get over the top of that hill, and then you do a couple of inversions and your ride's done. It is amazing. Like, not like, for me, not as good as like Ride to Happiness, but I got on it, I thought this is a ride that some of my friends are going to absolutely love, you know? And the theming throughout the park is fantastic. You can't see, for scale, this guy is like as big as a Disneyland castle. Like, it's what you see as you like come into the park. And for me, it is absolutely fantastic. They've got like a wooden roller coaster called like Zeus, and there's this massive statue, and as you walk underneath it, it's got these little pink pants, and they have tiny ducklings on them.
They actually got people to vote on what they wanted the print to be.
Amazing, amazing. And like, this is one of the So what are you talking about? It's just a carousel. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, he's carrying them on his back. But I absolutely love this place, and this is one of the places I'm going to go to on my next trip, just to show my friends this park. Yes, and this is definitely too much for one panel, so I'm going to rapid fire some of the ones around various countries, just for inspiration or places that you can look into. So, first up, like on my list that hasn't been talked about is Portaventura in Salou, Spain. That one has currently the world's tallest steel coaster after King the Car got demolished almost without announcement a few weeks ago. So it's got, so it's got some nice stuff going for it, but like I said, I'm not that into hot countries and things, so Germany was one of the first ones I tried. And I parked Warner Madrid, which has a escape, or what's it called?
Escape from Gotham City.
Thank you, Escape from Gotham City, which is supposedly supposed to be very similar to the Velocicoaster at Universal Orlando, which is considered to be one of the best ones in the world. Anyone been on it?
Nope.
No? You've been on it, Lou?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. All
You're
right.
only strapped in with the lap bar.
Yes, yes.
And it's inversions, it's everything.
Yeah.
Just with it, you have a little hand, little
Yeah,
cup in
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I was always waiting. It's not going to go upside down, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a really good point, Lou. It's only recently in the UK we've started getting lap bar only inversion coasters. Like most of the time, it's over the top. Get ready to get your ears boxed, you know. So that is surprise when you get on this big upsy downy coaster. And it's just this sort of lap bar, so it's like a bucket seat, so your legs are slightly up, lap bar across. Keeps you in for sure. We have one in the UK called Sick at Flamingo Land that is like Colossus at Thorpe Park, but with a lap bar, and it's much better for that reason. Yeah.
Colossus head.
Yes, but the reason I want to go to Park Warner Madrid is this ride. It's a boomerang style coaster, so one that goes forward and back, but it's an inverted coaster underneath. So when you go up those towers, you are like, your car is like dangling like this, and then you go up facing down like that before you get released and then go through all of it. And then to go backwards on an inverted coaster sounds really exciting. We'll find out. Maybe it will give me a little headache and scare me. Or we could go to South Germany, and near Europa Park, I say near, it's about sort of 2-ish hours away, there is Holiday Park Germany, which has Exposition G-Force, which is supposed to be a really good roller coaster, and Trickstrill, which is more like a family theme park, but their log flume is based around bathtubs. That's enough reason for me to want to try and have a go there. I love that weirdness about it. Or there's Sweden, which is, if you like a city break, in Gothenburg. If in Gothenburg there's, Liseberg?
Liseberg. Liseberg.
Liseberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the G is a Y sound in Swedish.
Okay.
Gothenburg is Göteborg.
And Groneland in Stockholm, which, looking at this picture, you can see if you like drop towers, they got lots of them. I think one of these has the style of drop tower where instead of sitting, it's just like free dangling legs. No, thank you.
Stand up one as well.
Big scary. And the other one they've got is this massive zoo, a bit more in rural Sweden, which is Kolmården Wildlife Park, which has a roller coaster called Wildfire, which is one of those RMC hybrid coasters, and it's ranked. So it's one of the tallest in the world. Yeah. And the rest of the zoo has because it's such a big zoo area. It's like gondolas, like you get on a sky train and then get to go over the top of the park and see the animals that way. So good if you want to see more zoo instead of park. You alright? Doesn't want to go to the zoo. And or you can go to North Germany, so a bit of Germany loaded for Heidi Park Resort and Hansa Park. So Hansa Park has this ride which is called
Schwerderskarnen.
Thank you, Schwerderskarnen, which this is part of the roller coaster. Exciting.
We don't discuss what happened
we do
in
not
the
discuss
tower.
what happened in the tower. And I haven't spoiled myself. I normally on a dark ride preview it just in case something that I really hate happens. So that looks really cool, and that's Hansa Park. And Heidi Park Resort is owned by the Merlin Group, and they have German Wicker Man guy. What's his name? He's a troll or something. It's just cool. You go down into his mouth, sick. Yeah, I love it. And what else have we got? Or you could head to Copenhagen, Denmark, for the first and the third oldest theme parks in the world for a bit of history. So the oldest one is Bakken. It's more one of those ones that you pay, like you can pay per ride, enter for free, decide what you want to do style park. And that has this ride called Tornado, which is like Spinball Wizard but facing in to each other, which it's just sort of like a nice new ride variation. And there's Tivoli Gardens, which I really want to go to this one. It looks absolutely beautiful. And yes, who's been? Oh, a couple brilliant. And yeah. I really want to go to it at Christmas time. I know it's going to be busy, but like Christmas markets and doing that would be like absolutely amazing. Yes. So that is the end of the stuff I've got. And here's some useful links of stuff that really helped me get into it. One of them is Coaster Breaks, which is a guy called Marcus who runs bus tours, which a couple of people here have been onto. And it's basically like a full week of theme parks. I think he's all booked up for 2025. Oh, wow. It's a bit intense for me, which is why I personally prefer to do one park rest day, maybe 2 parks rest day. Like, it's why I don't want to go to Universal Studio, like Orlando trip personally, because I know it'll be 2 weeks of me dragging my sorry corpse around that park, whether I was having fun or not.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Just to be like, I'm here, I have to do everything. So it's, making breaks. That did fit when I first did this panel. It's on a different laptop, so yeah. So qtimes.com have crowd calendar calculators, which is a really, like, obviously it's not 100% accurate, but really great way to be like, I am avoiding school holidays, when is the midweek, sort of stuff like that. Because, for example, sometimes a Wednesday in France, for example, is busier than a Sunday, and you wouldn't know without looking. In general, I would say lots of these theme parks operate on a similar schedule to we do in the UK, is that they open normally around March time, maybe April, all the way to August, and then I found, especially across Europe, September, really weird staggered openings, so double check when parks are actually open. And a couple of good sites and forums. I talked about Captain Coasters, also the Golden Ticket Awards, that sort of like it's different awards given to parks. Coasterpedia, Rollercoasters.com. Tower Street is like a Old Towers forum that also has lots of discussion stuff. And Coaster Force and sort of Reddit are roller coasters. And if you want, this QR code should go to this panel to save the information that I've talked to you about today. Yeah. How long do we have before our next one?
-5.
Minus 3 minutes.
Minus 3 minutes. All right. So, like I said, this is. I don't have anything for the rest of the day, so if you want to chat about any of this other stuff, like come find me at the bar outside, we can talk about it. And I hope this gives you some inspiration about some magical places that you can go see and all of the different theming, because I do think, especially looking at this and sort of like roller coaster rankings and how beautiful the park is and all that kind of stuff, we do have stuff that is on par with America. It doesn't have to be all America, all Japanese theme parks. We have some really good stuff, and we also have like a kind of twisted darkness to our fairy tales that is really cool or creepy or funny, that those parks just can't touch. Like, they just can't do it. Places where European can. Like, it's why Disneyland Paris has the best castle. They knew they couldn't compete with the castles we actually have in Europe. So they knew they had to make a good one for it to look good. Yeah. All right, thank you very much for coming. Happy holidays.